Everyone has a favorite character. Honestly, knowing someone's favorite character is, in my opinion, the best way to learn about someone if it's from their childhood. Maybe they had a special experience with this character, or they just love those innocent days. Maybe instead they enjoy a character being extremely well written, or they just really touch them, or they're just simply funny. No matter what, a favorite character of someone is always a very important and sacred thing. Unless you're a bum like me and your favorite character is this freaking thing. I made no secret that Bandana Waddle Dee is my favorite character of all time. I mean, I really made a 3-part, 2-hour-long ranking of my favorite characters, which you should watch. And yeah, he was number 1. Bandana Dee is a very special character to me. He helped me through a very hard time, he helped me get myself out of my comfort zone, and be more active online. I mean, this channel wouldn't exist if it wasn't for him. He's a very special character to me. And most things in my life, weirdly enough, can be traced back to him. So why does everybody hate him? For what seems like such an innocent and hard-to-hate character, Bandana Dee has caused so much scorn and hatred in the hearts of many for some reason. And since I make a video on Kirby every year for his anniversary, I want to finally step up and defend my favorite character of all time. It is time to defend my son, Bandana Dee. A Bandana defense. So some basic backgrounds so we're all on the same page. Bandana Dee appeared as Superstar as the first opponent in Megaton Punch. He's not special in it at all. Its remake is where he starts coming into his own, also carrying on his role in Megaton Punch, but also, he's Dee's trusted second in command, having dialogue with him as he pushes worry as Kirby gets closer, eventually deciding to fight Kirby himself, even if he's as strong as a regular enemy and can be defeated in one hit. But hey, at least he appears in the background of Dee's boss fight to show he survived. For him, Dreamland was his big turning point, fully cementing him as the 4th main character, upgrading him to main character status and fully playable. From there, Bandana Dee has a perfect track record in terms of appearances, only missing on the remake of Epic Yarn, having more physical appearances in modern Kirby games than Dee and Midnight do individually, either being an ally who supports Kirby or fully playable. He's been fully renamed to Bandana Waddle Dee, or occasionally just Bandana Dee. He's more or less Kirby's best friend now, basically the Dragonist, usually more important than Dee and Midnight are. So, why do Kirby fans hate Bandana Waddle Dee so much? The answer is actually quite simple. They don't. Most Kirby fans love the guy. He's consistently a very popular character that fans are always happy to see. And while there's a few people who wish the 4th character was someone like Adeline or Megalord, no one in the fanbase truly despises the guy at all in the Kirby fandom. In the Smash fandom, on the other hand, I have no idea why Bandana Waddle Dee incites such ire in the Smash community. But he's the freaking Dinkelberg of it. The community will take literally any opportunity to take pot shots at the guy. And it's been going on for almost a decade. He's a go-to scapegoat for everyone to hate on. To the point where he's probably among the most discussed characters in modern Smash discussion, solely because people like dumping on him. Why is what's on the servers an innocent heart-hate character so loathed? Well, I would say there's 3 main reasons, and they're all kind of interconnected. He's just a generic enemy, his fandom, and the general lack of hype or importance. I feel like all 3 of these are very flawed points, so I'm gonna break them down point by point. Let's do the big one first. Bandana Dee is a generic enemy with nothing special about him. I think a lot of this misconception on his most iconic appearance, he's called just Waddle Dee. So most people think he's just normal Waddle Dee, with nothing special about him. But that's not true, as he's shown as his own distinct character in several games. Heck, the game has never acted as if he's just a Waddle Dee. He's always special. For one, he actually has personality, as mentioned. And also, his spear moveset is exclusive to him. In terms of Waddle Dees, at least. Other enemies and Kirby can use a spear. Swords and hammers aren't exclusive to Midnight Deity, so this can't be used against him. The thing is, for the big reason he's hated on. He's just a hat Goomba. Bandana Dee is nothing special. He's a generic enemy wearing a hat. There is so much wrong with this. As I said, Bandana Dee is his own distinct character. He has a personality. He turns as a Kirby. He plays uniquely compared to other Waddle Dees. Heck, he's even darker shade compared to regular Waddle Dee. He isn't just a Goomba with a hat. He's a very distinct character. I'd have to ask, if Bandana Dee isn't worthy because he's just a Goomba with a hat, why would we give everyone else passes? If we're being technical, every Pokemon is a generic species. Are they all Goombas with hats? Let's not even mention Piranha Plant, who is literally just generic enemy. Frick, Smash Bros. Itself establishes that Rob is a species. They all look similar, except the playable Rob is slightly different looking and has more abilities. Sound familiar? But also, if we're supposed to hate anything that's just a generic enemy with a few changes, God, we must despise the Mario franchise! Ever realize how many Mario characters are palette swaps, minor alterations, or literally just the same as other characters and enemies in the series? Toads are a big example. Like, everyone loves Captain Toad. People kept begging for Toadsworth to come back. The big recurring characters in the modern 2D games are Toadette and the blue and yellow Toad, Huckleberry and Oligold. Don't worry, I'm not evil. They're all Toads with minor changes, but we love them. Heck, even the main Toad is usually shown indistinguishable from other Toads in the series. This applies to Yoshi's as well. You know, the character in Smash. Going back to Toad. People love when the RPGs include Toad's slightly different designs. The major criticism of the modern games is they don't do that. So what's the difference? It doesn't end there. Still in the RPGs, the original games had partners that were just regular enemies with minor changes. And people love them. The most popular, arguably, is Goombella, who is quite literally a Goomba with a hat. But she gets a path for some reason. Or how about King Boo? Like Bandana Dee, that's just taking a common enemy, making a slightly different shade, and giving him a hat. And that's just a rarely used Luigi's Mansion design. The more commonly used design is Luigi's extended Boo with the most Adobe stock image crown design known to man. Despite that, King Boo is a beloved villain in the franchise. People constantly request to see more of him. Then there's the big one. The most blatant example. Kamek. Kamek is, quite literally, the exact same as a normal Magic Koopa. There is quite literally no difference between him and a common enemy. It's gotten to the point where there's genuine arguments on if he's in a game or not. Is this random Magic Koopa that never speaks standing behind Bowser in Super Paper Mario Kamek? Or how about this Magic Koopa that randomly appears to attack Mario at the start of Galaxy? We'll never know! Kamek is a very interesting character visually. Despite that, he's becoming a fan favorite. Was demanded for Mario Kart 8 after being cut decades prior, was in the movie, carried Bowser in the death battle, is the main villain in the Yoshi series, and of course, is being requested for Smash Bros. I've yet to see anyone argue against this by saying he's a generic enemy. This statement isn't meant to knock any of these characters, by the way. I love Kamek, Goombella, the Toads, Yoshi. Heck, King Boo is my second most wanted for Smash. But if you're going to dismiss Bandana Dee being a generic enemy with a hat, you gotta hate these guys too. This one won't be as in-depth. I think people complain about Bandana Dee's fandom. Basically, that they're dismissive or attacking of newcomers or requested characters. Usually bring up legacy to back it up. Personally, I'm not encountered a Bandana Dee fan like this. But the internet is ridiculously huge, so we won't even debate that there's people like this. Just one problem. You remember back in school when one kid made some smart comment and was rude, and the teacher decided the whole class must suffer and stay during recess? You know what, you freaking hate your teacher for that? Yeah, same here. Don't blame a giant group of people for just a few bad eggs. Most Bandana Dee fans are wonderful people who just simply want a character in a game. They aren't pushy or rude about it. It's just a simple request. Well, let's just say, yes, we bar Bandana Dee from ever being in Smash Bros. Because his fandom is bad. So we have to go back in time and also remove Sora and the Aegis and Steve and Banjo and Joker and K. Rool and Ridley and Bayonetta and Cloud. And let's just be real here, almost every single other character in the game. I'm sorry, dude, but the battle's already lost. Every fandom has their bad eggs. So if you hate Bandana Dee because of his fandom, then you just simply shouldn't support anyone. Also, the legacy argument? When does that come up? Usually when I hear people shove "but legacy" in a Smash Club discussion, it's almost exclusively for third-party characters, claiming that because they're important to the game industry, they must also be in Smash. Crash, Dante, Master Chief, Kratos, and a few others being the most better examples. I don't think people realize that the creators of Smash don't really view it as this big celebration of gaming that people see it as. If anything, it's a celebration of Nintendo with a few guests of honor. Obviously I love third parties, but don't get mad when people want Nintendo characters in the Nintendo game. Let's actually stay in Legacy, because some people say that his lack of one, or any real hype, is the reason why he shouldn't be in the game. Now let's get the easy thing out of the way. Hype is subjective. My personal friend group has but one single person across all of them excited for Sora, but most people are ecstatic to see him. Also, they've included not particularly hyped or talked about characters as DLC, the ones you fully pay for, like Mayman and Byleth. So yeah, I don't think it's that important. But the thing is, Bandana Dee is, objectively, important to his series. He's firmly established at this point to be a main character of Kirby. Not only that, he's second place. He's arguably more important to modern Kirby games than Bandana Dee. They're usually just bosses or even just cameos. Bandana Dee is frequently playable. He's the Luigi of the game. Imagine if Smash didn't have Luigi but still had Mario, Peach, and Bowser. That's a Kirby franchise. Actually, don't imagine it. You know how everyone agrees that Looney Tunes' representation of multiverses sucks? Because they have Bugs, Taz, Marvin, and Lola. But Daffy, the secondary character, one of the most popular and iconic characters Warner has, their secondary mascot, arguably, is flat out not playable. Obviously, it's nowhere near as drastic as that. But yes, Kirby is missing a piece to make it complete. But why is this the case? Why do people not think Bandana Dee is that important? Well, I think there's two reasons. I think something you have to understand is that outside of Mario and only Mario, most people won't know the deeper parts of games that aren't shown in marketing, outside media, or general pop culture memes. To most people, the trio is Kirby, Midnight, and Dee. That's it. Those are the important characters in most displays. They're the ones most memed on, and they're the main ones in the anime. The anime holds a lot of weight to non-Kirby fans. Why is Dee forever forced to be seen as the only villain with nothing else? Because he's the main villain in the anime. Why people view Kirby as a mute baby? Same reason. You can't underestimate how much outside media collect people's thoughts on the games. Lara Croft was voted most iconic game character a while back, and I guarantee it's just because she's had multiple movies. The general view of Castlevania has completely swapped because of the cartoon. People think Lee is actually good now. I can now say with complete utter sincerity that Gerald Robotnik is in the top 10 most iconic Sonic characters now. Something you couldn't even think of a year prior. And heck, just look at Nintendo themselves. It doesn't matter that Pokemon is the biggest thing ever. Whenever something is reintroduced or properly introduced to the series for the first time through the games, everyone will always ask, where's Ash and Team Rocket? Like, look at reviews of Detective Pikachu. Mentions of Ash and Team Rocket are mentioned like every single review of that movie. As for marketing, as I mentioned on my video on Larry Lobster of all things, toys for Kirby are almost always focused on Kirby himself. He's always the big focus. Most blind boxes, for example, tend to be like 80% him, and then leave 2 slots for a different character. Meta and Magolor might get a nod if lucky, but Dee is usually cut. And of course, Bandana Dee merch is near non-existent. But you know who does get pretty decent merch? Waddle Dee. Just a normal Waddle Dee. And usually, he's right alongside Kirby, his best friend. Always by his side. This may be why people think Bandana Dee is just an average mook. Because most ads only show Kirby with an average mook. But there is one other really good way to advertise a character. One amazing way to put them out there for everyone to see. And that way is Super Smash Bros. When you really think about it, Smash has colored so many people's views on characters, whether it be because of itself or because of the culture around the game. Lucas is seen solely as a crybaby thanks to Subspace Estimary, when the game is actually fairly capable. Villager would rather be written up as a psycho, rather than as purely nice to play in Animal Crossing. Omar is viewed in the general sphere as a silent and uninteresting individual, when in the games he's actually really fleshed out and even has a family. Shulker is a walking meme dispenser, but he's actually one of the most tragic characters in the roster. Pit is just Baltana's idiot boy toy, while Palutena herself is a massive tease, and probably even detriment to humanity. When in reality, Pit is silly, yet still super competent and capable, while Palutena is a massive growth failure who truly loves humanity, and is as goofy and silly as Pit, with none of the seductiveness of her Smash portrayal. For anything, they're more like mother and son. Ridley is arguably more well known for the Ridley is too big meme than Metroid himself. Wolf is just evil fox. Carrie is just, are you okay? People think Martha's gay, Ike is this Giga Chad competent warrior, when it's actually reversed. And Captain Falcon. Oh god. Captain Falcon. Quick, tell me anything about the good Captain. I'm sure it's something more from his Smash version than any F-Zero game. Do you know Captain Falcon has never used a Falcon Punch in an actual F-Zero game? But for memes, that's all he does. The only bit of Smash stuck into the anime is the punch. And when you look at that, that's the only part people know about the anime. Every single Switch 2 game could be an F-Zero game, and I still feel like Captain Falcon would never escape his look as basically Smash's OC. You need to be as big as Mario to escape his viewpoint. I show by no one's thinking Bowser or Donkey Kong are just these mindless animalistic beasts. Because we know those characters. We know how they act. I do mean as big as Mario though. Because while everyone knows Wario as this over-the-top and goofy evil version of Mario, the gross party version of Wario is still more well-known than him being an adventurer, game developer, and edgy anti-hero. Because those games are nowhere near as popular as Mario spin-offs. But you're probably thinking, but Stripe, all these characters are actually in Smash. Bandana Dee isn't. Well, yes, but also more prominent with actual characters in Smash. The Smash characterization curse hits highly requested characters too. Crash is one super respected. But I've seen so many people call him a bum or unworthy of being called a gaming all-star, just because people are saying the same of his chances of being in Smash. Waluigi is unable to be separated from being cut multiple times from the series. And mention of him also include people talking about how he's always played the assist trophy. And Geno. Oh god. If really could be argued as Smash's OC, I think Geno just flat out is. Despite only appearing in one game and not being that important in it. Ever since Brawl, people kept bringing Geno up and pushing for the guy. Having him up as the coolest character ever. Even though only his power type was ever discussed, not his character. Hence the meme that Geno fans never play his actual game. Heck, when Mario RPG's remake got announced, I saw far more people excited that Geno was back and now relevant again, rather than people excited for the actual game or any other characters returning. Then the game came out and tons of people who only know Geno from Smash discussion saw what he really was. And most people saw him either a very bland and boring expression dump, or rid of a dork to say the awesome fighter he was made out to be. I think Bandana Dee fits comfortably here. Thanks to the relative unpopularity and obscurity of anything from Kirby, we've had a few more minor iconic bits. Keep in mind, the Kirby games only sell 1 million or 2 copies every entry, which is impressive, sure. But then you realize the best-selling Kirby game is the only one to sell more copies than Smash for Wii U. So much Smash fans not being Kirby fans, and everything surrounding Bandana Dee making non-fans think he's an unimportant minor enemy. It makes sense why this false narrative gets pushed around. People are unfair to Bandana Dee. I think that's clear. Why do people who shoot him down also always support Marks?
But I will continue to be baffled at how he consistently places highly in most wanted character polls. Now, if we're talking Marks, that's a whole other story.
I love Marks. Don't get me wrong. They're comparing one of the main four to a one-off villain who made a few scattered minor appearances across the series. Going back to the Marks comparison, as much as I love Marks, saying you don't want him while dismissing Bandana Dee is like saying, you know, I don't want Luigi in Smash. Instead, they should add Wart. Bandana Dee's view as a normal enemy is everywhere. Master has a series called Grunt Battle, where they have animations of a group of game minions fighting. On one episode, they include Waddle Dees. And Bandana Dee is included as one of them, as if he's not actually a distinct important character in his own right, which a few of the comments do actually point out, and say he either shouldn't be included, or he should have won the whole match on his own via scaling to Kirby. But mostly dismissed. Again, imagine if in the Goomba video they had Goombella. There would be riots. Gaming Play made a video building up the Ultimate, debating on if Bandana Dee was worthy for Smash Bros. And they decided no, since he's just a generic enemy. What was the episode before this one? Captain Toad, where they said yes, Captain Toad should be in Smash. That seems a little backwards, doesn't it? I hope to play as much as I want, but if I'm being real, Bandana Dee's bad stigma isn't going anywhere. Consistently, if Smash discussion happens on Twitter, people will randomly throw a jab at Bandana Dee no matter what. I remember on the anniversary of Terry's reveal, people were saying, God, people were really saying this was an unhyped reveal, yeah, well, Bandana Dee. As if Bandana Dee fans weren't really standing in solidarity with Terry fans, people wrote him off as a hat can. You can't rewrite history, Scrooge McDuck! Heck, sometimes people will randomly just take pot shots at Dee. It makes no sense. Especially when most of these people probably don't even play Kirby or know Bandana Dee outside of these names. I think only one way Bandana Dee overcomes negative stigma. I don't think that'll ever happen. That being played in Smash Bros. There's a lot of mystery around the inevitable Switch 2 Smash game. Yeah, it's not announced, but it'll happen. And will it be a port? A reboot? No idea. But it'll come. And will Bandana Dee come with it? I'm not sure. After K-Rool and Ridley, we're pretty much out of big, notable, super hyped first-party reels outside of, let's be real here, Waluigi. He definitely got a huge reaction. But I doubt Nintendo cares much about hype as much as we want them to. I mean, Bios being the final reveal of Pack 1 confirms it. So characters that won't break the internet, you're still requested like Bandana Dee, I still feel like can happen. Even with it being a reboot that would cut characters. He's that notable in my opinion. But it really depends on one man, Masahiro Sakurai. Now I gotta say this immediately. I have nothing but respect for this man. He's a great guy and makes great video games. But the one thing I'll hold against him is the pretty clear bias he has for his games in the Kirby franchise. Modern Kirby, even classic Kirby not made by Sakurai, has 0 stages compared to the 6 classic Kirby has. All of his Kirby's are classic characters, despite there being tons of beloved modern characters. They get more songs remixes. They even get more spirits. All that helped give some underrepresented series some much needed love, but Kirby wasn't one of them. Even though, honestly, it really deserves more than 3. Heck, it deserves more than 4. I know I said King Boo was the most wanted, but it's only if you do one per series. If you don't, 6 of my top 10 would be Kirby characters. Miller is definitely the most deserving. He's a huge rising star, he has a pretty good track record in terms of appearances, he has a clear moveset, he's really popular. Honestly, I think it'd be cool if we got both in. But again, that really depends on Sakurai, because I can't see Nintendo pushing hard for it seeing as their second party series. And that's not important as full first party series like Mario and Zelda. I think his chances are massively increased if someone who isn't Sakurai makes it, but I don't think it's impossible if he does. At least, I didn't think this when I wrote this in February. After writing, we have the reveal of Kirby Air Riders, which he's directing. The first time he's working on Kirby in 2 decades. We know nothing about this game currently. But I feel like if Bandana Dee is playable, he might be a lock for Smash 6. I feel like it's still an inevitable game, even if Sakurai isn't working on it. The only characters confirmed are different colored Kirby's, but the original game had Midnight and Dee playable, so you never know. Bandana Dee is a very simple character, among one of the most misrepresented and bashed characters in video game history. He's cursed to only be known as Hakuma for all eternity. I don't know what my goal is for this video. I doubt any Bandana Dee haters are watching this. And I'm a small channel, so I ain't affecting any minds. I want to let my thoughts out, and hopefully, one day, be accepted. Seriously, Sakurai, I have so many orphans I'll sacrifice to get them in.